We are going to talk about some knives that I think are actually really good knives for first-time knife owners. There's a lot of things out there. A lot of people will tell you, oh, you should get this type because they're not familiar with knives. I don't necessarily agree with all of it, but we're going to do that in a second because right now you guys know what time it is. Turn down the volume because here comes some music. Guys, there's a lot of people that'll tell you, oh, first knife for somebody that's never owned a knife should be a slip joint. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think at this point, there are knives out there that are either by the virtue of the way their lock mechanism works or their opening methods that are a little bit safer than those slip joints that we all got when I was a kid. When I was a kid, you got a slip joint or a small little lockback, which a small little lockback was my first knife. But there's issues with some of these because some of them, if you don't know a lot about knives, you can actually hurt yourself with. So what I've done is I've went through my knife collection and I've pulled out a handful of knives that demonstrate some knives, that, like style of knife that I think would be good for first-time knife owners. I have included some slip joints in here to show why I think that maybe some of these would work better. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this around. We're going to take a look at it from above and we're going to go through some of these knives and just show you why I think they would be good for first-time knife owners. Hi guys, so a lot of people are going to tell you that this is what you want in a first knife for somebody, is one of these traditional slip joint knives that's going to be one of the ones that they walk and they talk. And this is not something I agree with, because if you look, that action right there is a little bit problematic for somebody that's not real comfortable with knives. And I apologize, this is my, I guess I could take the sides off. This is my hobo. I could not find the slip joint I wanted to use for this. But the reason is there's a flat spot on here. So the spring rides along here and it reaches a point where it hits that point and then it snaps open and locks, the spring snaps down onto that flat. It doesn't have a keyed area that actually locks it. And then it just kind of snaps shut. Now, if you are a new knife person and you happen to get your finger there, that's something that could be problematic. So this is not the knife I would recommend for a first knife. So let's go ahead. We're going to move this out of the way. I'm going to show you some knives that I personally think are kind of a better choice for a first knife for someone that's not really a knife person that much. So a choice for a first knife, of course, the first thing I'm going to tell you is a small fixed blade could be a good choice for a person's first knife if they are the kind of person that's going to be able to carry a fixed blade. Sometimes a small fixed blade is nice because there's really nothing to manipulate. You've got some safety here because it's in a sheath. You're not going to cut yourself because it's in the sheath. In and out of a sheath is a little bit easier sometimes than manipulating lock mechanisms on a knife. A good small fixed blade could be a viable option for someone. I have 3 of them here. This one's got a leather sheath. A small little fixed blade will do the tasks of any of the other knives you've got and not necessarily have you dealing with the hazards of opening and closing a knife. They are simple, straightforward. There's no mechanism to screw with. There's nothing to take apart. There's nothing really to break except for the tip on the knife. So these are a very, very good choice for a starter knife, a beginner knife. I know a lot of us started with those slip joint knives that I showed, but they're not always the best choice. And there's so many options today on the market for small fixed blades that are quality made, like the one I designed, this Bastinelli design here. They are really good knives that would be absolutely fitting of giving to someone that could use a knife like this and you know, in a scenario where it would be something as an outdoors thing or an around the house or in the yard thing. So there you go. Small fixed blade might be the way to go for some people. These are my next choice. These are the Opnels. Now, this one was one that one of my viewers sent me. He had customized it, but it's the same type of knife. This one is really stiff, but it really is a very simple design. This is a small Opnel number 6. And the lock is really simple. It locks closed and it locks open. A lot of the other knives do not lock in the closed position. This one does. So you open your ring, you pull it out, you push the ring back around, and now basically you've got a locked up knife. The nice thing about these is they're simple. They are safe. because as you can see, like it locks open and it locks closed, and they're not expensive. So if something happens to this, you know, they're easy to maintain. They're not hard to sharpen. You can pretty much sharpen this on almost anything because they are so thin and nice. They cut really well. And the fact is, if something happens to it, they're not really expensive. They're easy to replace. And it just provides them with something where they're not hesitant, like, oh, I don't want to take that gift out that Mike got me because I might damage it. Well, the thing is, a lot of these are like 12 bucks, things like that. This is something that they could get away with using. And to tell you the truth, they are great little knives. They handle incredibly well. They're really comfortable and they cut well. So it's a good all-around first knife experience for someone that's just getting into the knife hobby. So you go, the Opnel series of knives. They're a really good choice for a first knife for someone who's just getting into knives. So the next one I'm going to talk about is a good frame lock. Now, if you want to get somebody into the hobby and they're going to be willing to spend that money, a good frame lock knife like a Sebenza that does not, like this doesn't close down. It's not going to snap shut on your fingers. It has a stable lock. The action on it is really easy and free to open. You have a lot more control. This would be a very good choice for a first-time knife person if they were willing to go ahead and, if you wanted to pony up the dough for someone for this, or if you were giving them a recommendation and they wanted a high-quality knife. This is an all-around super high-quality knife that would really get someone into the knife hobby the right way, where they're going to have a good all-around experience. Action on them is really smooth. They lock up nice and solid, and there is no snap shut on that. It goes closed the way you want it to. You're the spring in this one. It's just basically a really simple design that locks in, and you basically have, you know, a locked knife folded open. Now, the thing about these are they don't lock in a closed position like the Opnels. Neither did the lockbacks, but they had a little bit of a spring to them. So this doesn't have that. So if you happen to bump something really hard or catch this on something, you can overcome that detent. But I've never had it happen but once or twice where I would get, like, pulling out of pocket, I would have a string or something get caught on the thumb stud and cause it to partially open coming out of pocket. So really safe option for a first-time knife user to get them familiar with the knife hobby and get them into a safe option. So there you go. Frame locks, a good frame lock, not necessarily one with a really strong detent. So there you go. This is one that I don't think you guys would have seen coming. I believe that the Access Lock is a very good first knife for someone because the action is easy, and the fact is the lock allows you to open and close this knife if you choose with either the lock bar, or you can slow roll that open and allow that to close on its own, and you don't have to put your fingers in the travel of the blade. So these are a little bit more pricey. There is another option that I am going to show you guys. I don't have a picture of it, but I will talk about it when I'll pull up one of my other Spydercos, is the compression lock. But this lock actually is very safe because, as you can see, I don't have to do anything to open or close that knife. I can open it with the thumb stud and I can close it without ever having to come into contact with the blade or have my hand in the front. Now, there's another lock, like I said, called the compression lock, and I'm going to throw up a picture of it here, which is a lot like a frame lock, but on the back. That's another one. So there's a picture of it that's going to pop up over here. I'll do a split screen in post. But that's another really good one because just like this one, you can open and close that knife without ever touching the blade if you so choose. So it just kind of takes a little bit of that hazard of the sharp part of that blade out of the mix. Like I said, you just pull down on your sliding bar lock or axis lock and it drops shut. Compression lock is a lot like that because your lock activation stuff is on the back of the spine here, like you saw in the picture. I'll put it back up here. It's really easy to manipulate and it keeps you out of the travel of the blade. Very safe option. It's a very well thought out lock. I don't necessarily like the execution sometimes with some of the springs, but the Access Lock, sliding bar lock, TRM Atom, not TRM Atom, I'm sorry, the TRM Shadow had it, really like it. It's a very, very solid lock mechanism when executed properly, and it is very safe. So there you go, guys. That was some knives that I think would be good options for first-time knife owners. So let's go ahead and turn this around and do some final thoughts. There you go, guys. Like I said, slip joints aren't a bad choice, but I feel that walk and talk, that snap that you get on the backside with some of those traditional slip joint knives. I think that poses an issue that actually would be something that, as someone progresses through the knife hobby and has gotten used to being and having knives and being in the hobby and being around knives, that would be something that they could get into later. I kind of feel that adds a hazard. So you guys, you're welcome to disagree with me if you want. So, you know, if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down. But you got to tell me why. I can't change the content if you don't tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel, it's as simple as, like I always say, like, share, subscribe. Share it with somebody you think would enjoy the content. Drop a comment, hit the bell icon, and then make sure that you hit all content. That way you get notified every time I put up a video. If you want to support the channel financially, however, there's a handful of ways I've got down in the description below. I've got a membership that gets you early access to some content, exclusive content based on tier, premium tier sharpening tutorial series, a gilded server, which is like Discord, where we chat and talk, and I've set up all kinds of rooms, and also saves you $5 per knife on my sharpening service. Other ways you can do it, I have affiliate links down below where you can purchase some of the items that I talk about in some of the videos. And it doesn't cost you anything at checkout, but they give me a little bit of portion of it when you do purchase things through those links. The final way is I have a merchandise store on Ember Shirt Co. I have set up a coupon code that works anywhere on Ember Shirt Co. That coupon code is CrazySharp, all one word, capital C, capital S, CrazySharp, all one word. And if you send me pictures of you wearing my merchandise, I will put them in the videos. Guys, that's it. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed the live feeds we've been doing. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and I will see you in the next video.